Alright, today we've got a bit of a project in the shop. Let's check it out, see what I'm working on. Well, there she is. That's what I'm working on. I know, she's a beauty, huh? No, actually it's more like an ugly duckling. Some of you may recognize this car. I've worked on it before. And I made a deal with the owner, so now I own this thing. So we're going to try to fix it up and get it squared away, at least a little better condition than what it is now. And you'll have to forgive the noise. It's 113 degrees out today, so I got to keep the cooler running. And it was 90 a second ago. I turned the cooler off for the intro and it already jumped up to 91. So at least as long as I keep the cooler running, I can keep it at a nice cool 90. Now this thing is a 1997 Accord EX with leather, and it drives very nice. The drivetrain and everything is in good shape. I've worked on it over the years, so I know the condition of that. So at least the drivetrain and stuff like that, very good shape. Now I do know that there's an ABS problem. The ABS light is on, so we're going to have to address that. There's a power steering leak, so we're going to have to address that. Of course, I'll change all the fluids and probably the plugs and wires and stuff like that. So we'll give it a tune-up, refresh everything under the hood. I'll check the brakes, make sure they're good. At least the body is straight, but somebody put a paint job on there and they did a terrible job. It looks like maybe it was in an accident because this is an aftermarket hood. You can see that we still got the E-coating or black primer under here. So this was replaced, this hood for sure. This fender was replaced. I just sanded it real quick. You can see we got just one ring of primer and then the color. Where here you can see there's our metal and then there's our factory primers right there. And then this is the factory OEM finish, and then this is the stuff they put on. So I don't know if you can tell, but there's definitely a color difference between that and our factory color right here. This is, what is this? R78P-3, so I'm actually going to repaint this, so we're going to paint it back to its original color. Yeah, I used to paint professionally. I didn't paint cars, but I know how to paint, so I certainly can't do any worse than the paint that's on this, because whoever did it used really cheap paint and they did a crappy job. You can see that the desert has just tore this clear coat up, and this is obviously stuff that they put on. If you look at it from the side, I don't know how that picks it up, but I mean, it looks like it was sprayed with cooking oil. Definitely does not look like clear coat, that's for sure. Just a terrible job all the way around. Now there was obviously, if they replaced this in the hood, there was probably some front end damage, so the lights have definitely seen better days. I took these apart and they're broken back there, and this is cracked too, so I think new lights are going to be, or replacement lights will be in the future for this car. And the tab right here and the clips right in there are broken, so this thing will not reattach, so we're going to have to fix that. I did notice that there's a crack in the rear bumper, just a small one, so we'll have to fix that. Now on this vehicle, on the EX model, the mirrors and this were body colored, so this is correct, and the handles too. But what pisses me off is when they do a crap job and they paint the black rubber right there. Yeah, that's just awful. And down here, this is supposed to be black. The mud flaps are supposed to be black, so they just did a crappy job. And I can feel the tape edge right there. They just taped right there and just sprayed this instead of just wrapping the paint around. So there's a hard edge right there. So it sucks going behind somebody to fix their work. So I'm definitely going to have to take all this crappy paint off and at least get it down to the OEM finish so that I have a good substrate, because trying to paint over this, my stuff is just going to flake off. So I definitely got to get it back down to a good sub. And if we wipe it and get it wet, hopefully you can tell what there's our original color right there. And looking inside, the door panels are in decent shape, but the seats are not in great shape. The carpet is dirty, but I think that'll clean up. The headliner, all that stuff looks good, but yeah, the seats, unfortunately, this leather gets old and brittle out here in the desert and cracks up. You can see there's our OEM finish. That's what we're going to put back on there. evidence just of another crappy job. They did not tape this off and seal it. So right here is all dry. So that's dry overspray from when they're spraying the car. They just spray it just like that without sealing that gap, and all the overspray goes in there and dries just like that. Looking at the front, you can see our door panels, the dash, all that, even the steering wheel. Well, although it has a cover, the steering wheel, everything's in pretty decent shape. The carpets are not ripped or anything. It's just a matter of the seats. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do anything with these seats. If you guys have a suggestion, let me know. Doing upholstery, that can be really expensive. And obviously, an old car like this, we're not doing a full restoration. We're just trying to make it look a little better. Like I said, I don't know what I'm going to do with this car, but we just want to make it look better than it does right now, which, looking at it, shouldn't be too hard. I was mistaken. It's actually 115 out today. Luckily, it only feels like it's 115. And more evidence of a poor paint job. The spoiler from here down should also be black. It should not be body colored. Same on the rear bumper also. And you can see the cheap clear they put on here just being completely eaten up by the sun. Out here in the desert, it likes to eat up cheap paint, especially cheap clear like this. And I don't know if you can tell, but there's absolutely no clear coat all the way on top. There's like a line that's cut right here. It goes just like that. That's where the clear coat ends. And same thing on the bumper. You can see where all that right in the middle, clear coat has just been destroyed and eaten up. I did already remove the emblems, pulled those off. I find it easiest just to use a thin little putty knife, just kind of move in there and just break them free. So that's what I did for those, popped them all off. And thankfully there's not a lot of body work to be done. You know, as far as the metal, it's actually pretty straight. There's a few dings and minor imperfections that we'll have to fix, but luckily that everything actually looks pretty good as far as that's concerned. Now the rims are hideous and the tires are going to have to be replaced. I'm not sure if we'll be able to have money in the budget for new rims or not. We'll see. It would be nice. Definitely, I've already bought the paint, so I have the paint, primer, and stuff like that for this car. I did buy 2 headlight assemblies that come with the side markers, so I already have those. As far as other parts, we're going to have to go with as is. I'm going to have to repair that bumper. I'm going to have to repair the rear bumper. Everything else, we're keeping it the same. You know, I might, seeing as this will be new paint, maybe I'll recoat these. Trim pieces, you know, they're kind of beat up, but the trim on these old Hondas are nearly impossible to find. So typically you want to take everything off, paint it, and then put it all back on. But some of this stuff, yeah, if I try to remove it, it's going to be damaged beyond repair, and I may not be able to find new stuff. So I may have to tape some of that and just spray paint it in place, even though that's not ideal. Sometimes you just got to do it, especially on this rear window. This stuff looks in good shape, but if I start messing with it or tried to pull it up, yeah, I'll break everything. And out here in the desert, this stuff becomes really brittle after 20 years or 20 years plus. So we'll see how much I'll be able to take apart. Hey, look at that, we dropped it down to 88. I'm gonna have to go get my jacket. Now this is not going to take over my channel. I don't plan on putting out very many videos on this vehicle to my channel. I'm not sure if any of this will ever make it to YouTube. We'll see. I'm simply doing it as a challenge just to see, because I got the car for free. I didn't pay anything for it. I'm doing it as a challenge to see how much I can fix it up without putting too much money into it, and how much I can make it better than it is now. Right now it's a complete eyesore. I'm not sure if the camera can pick up on it, but this thing is a real eyesore. You know, if I drive this thing around, people try to hand me money like I was standing on the street corner begging for food. No, I'm kidding, they don't do that, but it's definitely an eyesore, and we want to just try to make it look a little bit better. So right now this will be the end of this video. This will be part 1. I'm not sure if there'll be any more parts. Maybe there'll be a part 2 and that's going to be the end. Maybe there'll be a couple in between. Who knows? I don't know. We'll see how I feel when I'm working on this thing. In any event, hey, if you want to see more or if you liked it, make sure to give it a thumbs up. Thanks for watching.